I'm joined today by the European Search Personality 2015 and the founder of State of Digital. He's worked, trained, and consulted with some of the biggest brands in the technology, travel, and entertainment industries. And he also lectures at several leading business schools. So welcome, Bas van den Beld.
Hi, thanks for having me, David.
Well, thanks so much for coming back. It wasn't so long you were on our Twio show, so good to have you back here. SEO, will we even still be calling it SEO in the year 2020, do you think?
That's a good question. Probably some of the old folks will still call it SEO, but I'm not sure if it's going to be called SEO then in the general terms. Though I think a certain part of it will still be called SEO, which is what now is called the more technical part of SEO. Will probably still be called SEO then. I think other parts of SEO will probably be, as we're already seeing, be molded into other parts of the digital marketing jobs that we have right now. It's like what we discussed on your show before, that job titles are changing and that there's less jobs in SEO. I think the article that we talked about, which is actually, I think, not a fact that it's less jobs in SEO, it's just less jobs named SEO. Which is, I think, is a big difference. The term SEO, if it will exist in 2020, as said, I think probably it will exist, but mostly for technical SEO kind of work.
Do you think it will be reasonable to expect an SEO to do all the activities under whatever umbrella it is in 3 or 4 years' time, UX and good website experience, or will an SEO then just be about technical SEO, do you think?
I think it will probably, when we're talking about SEOs in 2020, it will be about technical SEO. I don't think you can expect right now even from any SEO to do all of it. It's just too broad. I think it's interesting, though, that if you look at it from a historical perspective, is that probably the SEO was the first actual digital marketer. So they already did a lot of stuff, but the web has grown, the reliance on the web has grown. So we rely on what happens on the internet much more than we did 10 years ago. So the stakes are much higher. So that means it's not a one-person job anymore. But it all comes from the job of the SEO. At least one of I think the major part of it comes from the job of the SEO. UX didn't exist 10 years ago. It exists now partly because we've gone from getting people to the website to having them stay on the website, and it's become a part of SEO. All sorts of different parts of digital marketing are from an SEO perspective actually set up. So social media, in a way, comes from SEO as well, because we try to optimize for the users in the end, and I think every part of the digital marketing sphere is doing the same thing, but SEO is the original one.
So what SEO strategies would you say work well now in 2016 still, but are unlikely to work well in the year 2020?
That's a good question. Well, I think if it's the evolution that you can see from the shady tactics that have been working for about a decade and stopped working in the last couple of years, or didn't even stop entirely working in the last couple of years. They were just less effective. And I think that will continue. The stream that we're in now, where you can see that tactics that are not beneficial for the end user, those will be problematic. So those will probably disappear because either Google or maybe a new search engine that might pop up in the next 4 or 5 years will have a different approach to it. So actually trying to game the system will be much harder every time, because the system's getting better at tracking it and finding the little changes and stuff. But there will always be tactics that are just a little bit shady. That will always exist. That actually keeps us alive, to be honest, because that's what brings us further, and is what brings search engines further as well. Because if we wouldn't cross those lines, then they wouldn't change this thing, and everything would be the same.
You mentioned the possibility of Google having a competitor or a bigger competitor. Do you think that's likely that in the next 4 years or so that we may see another search engine either appear or grow to become a realistic, significant competitor to Google?
Yes, because I think search is going to change the way that we do search. I don't see a competitor in the way that we're searching right now with the 10, well, more than 10 these days, but with the results, the search engine results pages, the way they are now. But if you see how search engines are slowly changing from a list of results that we're seeing into a personal assistant, that means there's different competitors possible, and there's different competitors who are already there. That's the only way Apple could compete with Google when it comes to a search engine, is Siri. And now Siri is not right now a very good search engine, but it is a help. It is a personal assistant. And I think search engines will evolve much more in that direction. And that means that Google's going to get more competition in that area. Because if you look at Siri, but if you look at Cortana as well, I think Microsoft Cortana is showing that it's very well possible to compete with Google in a way that is feature-wise. So feature-wise, Cortana is doing as good a thing as Google is with Google now. It's just that Cortana doesn't have the platform like Android has. So that's been a good choice from Google several years ago to actually go with the mobile angle. But yeah, I think there is a potential competitor for Google out there if you look at it from a personal assistant angle.
So, I mean, that's the evolution of search, I guess, with the potential of search being integrated into devices almost, rather than actually through a browser. But the actual SERP that we're seeing at the moment, Google search results pages, do you think that's still going to be very important? And if so, do you think it'll evolve much over the next few years?
It's going to be less important, I think. It will evolve without a doubt, because it's been evolving for forever since there were search engine results pages. But I think some of the results are going to be not on a page that we're looking at. So we're not going to make a choice. We're just going to get the results, which means that we're not going to make a choice ourselves. So we don't need a page for that. So those types of searches, if we ask, let me try to think of an example. So I want to know a shop, the closest barber shop. Bit strange with my haircut, but the closest barbershop near to me. If I'm, for example, I'm taking a trip. I'm going 3 weeks to the US. I'm in, I don't know, New Orleans. I'm in my hotel room, and I'm doing a search for, I need to go to the closest barbershop possible. I don't need a set of results for that. I can just get an answer for that. So we don't need pages for those types of results. When it comes to what are things that I should be looking at when I'm going to New Orleans, that's a different type of search, because that's going to give me more general things that I like that I can choose from. So that means I need a page to land on. But the actual results that are directly there, the direct answers, evolved direct answers, those will be different.
So in relation to that, do you think that the need for a local business to have a website will become less because perhaps the user actually gets all the information they require directly from the search results rather than actually having to visit a website?
No, I think it will become more important.
Okay.
So the website as we know it now will become less important. So it's not about a look, this is us kind of website. It's about helping getting the searcher to their answer as quickly as possible. So it will be important for branding. It will be important to have a home base where you can try and give answers to the people searching, and feed the search engines at the same time. It's not just the fact that it's a barbershop near me, but it should be a barbershop that fits my needs. That knows how to how to handle a guy with not much hair, so that I don't end up in a barbershop where there's all women with long hair sitting there. I'd be uncomfortable there. So the barbershop has to make sure that it shows what kind of barbershop it is, and I think the personal website from that business will be very important for that.
Okay, and so schema will obviously help with that as well.
Yes. So schema, I think schema is the start of all those things. Schema is hugely important on that, but it will evolve into more than that, because I don't think schema is something that every small business is going to implement or even understand how to implement it. So the search engines will try and figure out more of that stuff themselves. And that is the content that people put out. That is the content that the businesses put out on their own websites, also outside of their own website. So you have to make sure that you show that not just that you are a barbershop, or what kind of barbershop you are. Branding-wise, you need to do a lot more so that it shows that you're the right fit for the searcher.
Okay. So you mentioned at the beginning that SEO almost evolved into digital marketing, or in general, or that SEOs were the first digital marketers, and then social evolved from that. Now, obviously, Google have got Google Plus. There are lots of other social networks out there. What do you think may happen with Google Plus, and what do you think Google may do with other social results in order to actually perhaps improve its results?
Yeah, I think Google Plus is that. It's a debate that's been there since from when it started, and I think the debate has always been wrong, because I don't look at Google Plus as a social network. I know there's a social network element in it, so the fact that you can go to Google Plus and that you can share updates and all that kind of stuff, that is a social network part, but that's the least important part of Google Plus. Google Plus, in essence, is what's going on behind the scenes. So it's the fact that Google is getting a grip of who are the people that are searching, who are the people online. So they're personalizing our experience based on what's happening with Google Plus. So every time you visit a website, the Google Plus One button sends back information about us, how much time we spend on the page, what we're doing, and because it's connected to a profile, because they know it's a certain person, they can then start personalizing more. I don't think that will go away. So Google will always use the backhand stuff on from Google Plus. It's just that they name it Google Plus is a bit stupid. They shouldn't have named it Google Plus, because the Google Plus social network is something else. That probably won't cease to exist. That probably will either die at one point, or it will be like one of the smaller social networks. It's not going to be like another Facebook. Even though it functional-wise, it might do great things, I don't think it will actually be a competitor in the space of social media. The stuff behind it, that's what Google Plus is really all about.
And will Google need to or want to purchase another social network?
I've been thinking about how Google might buy Twitter, because they've been getting closer to Twitter in the last couple of months, maybe year, and it would make sense for Google to buy Twitter, because it would give them more insights into our behavior, and it would get them closer to news-related stuff as well. So it would benefit them to buy Twitter. I'm not sure if they're actually going to do it. So it's a tough question to answer. I don't see any other social network right now that Google should buy. Even though if you look at applications like Snapchat, for example, they show how the young generation is working and how they're behaving online and through networks. And Google doesn't have that. So that could be something that they could be looking at as well. Because in the end, it's all about the data. For Google, the interesting part is, can we use the data behind it? It's not about can they spread as much information as possible, or can they make money from it? It's about how much data can we get from the social network that we acquire. And data means behavior of people and how they can use that.
And one of the social networks with probably the most data at the moment is Facebook. are Facebook going to become a serious player in the search industry as well?
I don't think so, to be honest, no. And they should have been already, and they haven't succeeded on that. And if they haven't succeeded up until now, I don't see them actually succeeding in becoming a big search engine. I might be wrong, we never know. But the way that Facebook is going at the moment, it's becoming more and more like a publishing, like a publisher. It's the online version of a TV channel, socialized TV channel, but it's if you go to Facebook, you only see parts of what you actually could see, because you're only seeing a few friends that pop up all the time. You hardly see the right brands anymore, because it's only the brands that advertise. So it means that the only thing you're actually seeing on Facebook when it comes to brands are the ones that's spending a lot of money on Facebook, which means that it's not very attractive to go there, and I wouldn't know what to search for. And they're not pushing towards other websites as well. So they're not trying to get content on Facebook that shows other websites. They're trying to get everything on the platform, to stay on the platform, on the Facebook platform, which means that search is only interesting inside the platform, and there's not really much to search for. And the search itself is rubbish, to be honest.
And what about the actual experience of viewing websites, web pages? Do you think that people are more likely to use much bigger screens? Do you think screens might shrink and actually become watches? And if so, what may happen to the average website to ensure that it maintains a good user experience?
That's connected to the user itself. So, and as you said, it has to have a good user experience. So it's about the experience part. A website is not about showing this is what we are. A website is giving the people the right experience. That's where it starts with. So if you look at all the stuff going on with virtual reality at the moment, that's probably what new websites will look like. So taking the barbershop as an example again, I want to look inside the barbershop. I want to see what's going on right there, and I want to know that it's a place that I want to go to. And that's what websites will probably be in the future, whether it's an application that you can only see through a virtual reality device, or that it's on a website. You want to be able to see those kind of things. So it's about giving people the experience that they want and need.
And in terms of the way that Google perceives the value of other websites, the authority of other websites, at the moment, it still very much relies on links and citations and on-site optimization as well. Do you think the way that Google decides to rank web pages in its SERP is likely to change significantly?
No, I don't think in the short run it will change significantly, to be honest. That they've had the opportunity to change that around several times in the last couple of years, and they only made minor changes in the end. If you look at all the changes they made, they're relatively minor changes. So I don't expect too big of a change there, especially when it comes to the results that need what we talked about earlier. The results that actually need a results page. I don't think those will change that much in the short run. In the end, it will be about how close can you get to your audience, whether or not you rank well or not. But that's a long way from where we are now, because it's really difficult for Google to figure that out as well, because everybody's different.
And one thing that we've seen fairly recently is the removal of right-hand ads on the SERP, and for many commercial terms, 4 ads on the top. Do you think that paid ads and organic listings will get more integrated in the future? And well, if so, how do you see that evolving?
I'm a bit afraid for the Facebook, for what's happening to Facebook right now, that will happen to Google as well, that most of the results pages will be mostly ads, and that it will turn into another type of TV channel, just see a lot of ads. So that is a bit what I'm afraid of, because of the growth of the number of ads that we're seeing in the SERPs.
And do you think it's going to be still mostly text-based, or is it likely that we may see more graphics or videos on Google SERP?
No, I think we're going to see a lot more videos and a lot more images as well. But those can be ads, so the ads can become images as well. It's something that Bing is working on as well, is specifically for users of the Surface. They get ads that you can flip through, and you can see, you do a search and you see search results, but those are like very visual, and the first part that you see are ads, and then you should have a couple of organic results, and then you have a couple of ads again, and another set of organic results. I think that's probably where Google will go as well in the future. So much more visual and less textual.
And do you think in the future Google and perhaps other search engines will continue to get better at dealing with negative SEO? Will it still be possible to participate in negative SEO in the future?
It will still be possible, because like with everything, as soon as you fix something, there will always be someone who tries to break it again and tries to and succeed in it as well. So it will always be possible. It will be more difficult, and I think that's the only thing that a search engine can do, to make it as difficult as possible to have that work. But don't underestimate the power of negative SEO beyond SEO. Now, it might sound strange, but negative SEO comes from negative PR, and that's been around for even before PR existed. That's basically the whisper campaigns are something that happened 2,000 years ago. That's just basically people gossiping about each other. That is negative SEO as well, and that's very easy to do without actually even having to do any type of SEO. If you can only make people talk bad about other people or businesses, that's going to help you get negative results in the search results as well. So it's really hard to tackle that as a search engine. So it's not a technical thing, I think, negative SEO. It's more a PR thing.
So it's in human nature. It's in a marketer's nature, possibly.
I wouldn't say marketer's nature, because that's probably bad-mouthing marketers too much, but it is in human nature, yeah. If you ever want to read a good book on that, by the way, it's Trust Me, I'm Lying, from, I forgot his name, Ryan Holiday it is. It's a great book, and he explains, for example, how in former jobs he got small bloggers to write about stuff, which then was picked up by the bigger websites and actually newspapers, just because he kind of like implemented the negative SEO into the internet, and it's scary, but we can also learn from it, and it shows that it's very well possible to get everything on the web without even having to touch your own website or your competitor's website.
It is scary, yes.
Yeah.
One thing that SEOs also struggle with is cross-device tracking and multi-touch attribution. Is that going to get easier? I mean, are we going to be, in a few years' time, going to be more likely to be able to actually say this visitor searched for, an organic keyword phrase in this particular device and ended up purchasing on this device through an affiliate link or a pay-per-click link, so we can then give the organic search traffic some credit?
Yeah, I hope so. I doubt it, to be honest, but I hope so. I doubt it because there's the privacy issue, and that we're going to get less and less information as SEOs about what people search for and how they behave. Even though we want that information, it's going to be less available, so it's going to be more difficult to actually see where the attribution, tough word for a non-English person, attribution comes from. So that's going to be more difficult, I think, in the future. It would be really good if we could figure that out, but it's difficult, I think.
And just to conclude, what do you think businesses need to be doing now that is likely to be still a positive, valid strategy in 2020?
Get as close to your customer as possible and your audience. I think that's the thing. Is like, no matter what you do, no matter what changes Google make or Facebook make, as long as you know what drives your customer and what drives your potential customer, you can get close and you can create content, you can optimize SEO, you can do all the different tactic stuff. But you can't do those different tactic stuff if you don't know about your customer. So get as close as possible to your customer, understand exactly what their needs are, and play on that.
Great. Okay. Well, Bas, thank you so much for joining me. Where can people get hold of you again?
Well, thank you for having me. They can get hold of me on Twitter, of course, at Bas van den Beld. It's just my full name. My personal website is basvandenbeld.com. And State of Digital, of course, stateofdigital.com is the place where I spend a lot of time publishing content and helping other people publish content as well.
Wonderful. Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.